All right. So George Pickens has been traded to the Dallas Cowboys, and let's break down the trade, the compensation, and what it means for the Steelers and for the Cowboys. Before we jump into it, hope you all are having a fantastic, fantabulous, awesome freaking day. My name is Garrett Shoemake, and this is the Shoemake Take. Hope you all are doing well. This trade, to me, when the news broke earlier in the afternoon, well, you guys are seeing this on Thursday. This happened on Wednesday morning, early afternoon. I was at work, checked my phone, saw it, and I was like, huh? Like, that was my initial reaction, was just, huh? Why? Like, to me, like, we'll talk about it more in detail in a second. This trade makes absolutely no sense for the Dallas Cowboys and for the Steelers. This is going to hurt them in the short term. In the long term, I'm not sure. But without spoiling too much more, let's just jump right into it. So here is the official transaction for George Pickens. The Pittsburgh Steelers receive a 2026 third round pick and a 2027 fifth round pick, while the Cowboys, receive wide receiver George Pickens and a 2027 sixth round pick. To me, both teams lost this trade. Both of them lost. Starting with Pittsburgh, the team that least lost, if that makes sense. The thing is, for Pittsburgh, they lost the only other weapon outside of DK Metcalf that is good. Sure, they have Calvin Austin, who's all right, but he's nothing like George Pickens or DK Metcalf. He's a wide receiver 3 at best. And then in the running game, you have Jalen Warren, who's underrated. And then you drafted Caleb Johnson in the third round, the running back out of Iowa, who's pretty talented, fits the Pittsburgh Steelers mold. But outside of that, Roman Wilson's coming back from injury, but who knows how he's going to be. And then there's nothing else past that. Sure, you have Pat Freiermuth, who's good, but you're missing that extra outside receiver that would have made this offense perfect for what they're trying to run under offensive coordinator Arthur Smith. He likes to have two physical outside receivers and a physical running game and a solid, durable tight end. Now you are missing that. They already don't have a quarterback. And like I said, there was a real opportunity to have some juice on this offense, and ultimately, you traded away George Pickens, who's still 24 years old, for an older, similar skill set. You traded for an older George Pickens, if that makes sense. And so you really didn't get all that much. You traded away George Pickens, and then now you have DK Metcalf on a big contract, and he's older. Congratulations. And I would argue that George Pickens might have even more talent than DK Metcalf. So for Pittsburgh, this loss really hurts them. They already don't have a lot of weapons in the cupboard. They already don't have a quarterback. I don't believe in Mason Rudolph or Skylar Thompson to be starters for this team, and Will Howard should not be starting for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, is Aaron Rodgers actually going to sign with Pittsburgh? I don't know. But at this point, if Aaron Rodgers can do whatever he wants, he has all the leverage. And if he decides that he wants to retire, the Steelers are absolutely screwed. And apparently, part of the reason why George Pickens, according to Bleacher Report, they reported this not too long after I started recording this video. They reported that George Pickens was not happy with the quarterback situation in Pittsburgh. And as a wide receiver, or as a head coach, that's the last thing you want to hear, is that you got a player disgruntled because another position group is lacking. And if they believe that it is lacking, I mean, in this situation, you kind of have to let George Pickens go. The thing is, George Pickens he's on the last year of his contract. He's going to be a free agent after the 2025 season, and you already paid DK Metcalf. So paying two receivers, that doesn't top money, that's not going to work. That doesn't work in the NFL. It's allocating way too much resources into one position. And so if you're in this situation where, okay, he's not happy and you already know that you're probably not going to be able to pay him after the season, trade him and try and get something back and build and continue to try and build through the draft and do what Pittsburgh always does. And so it does in a way make sense for them, even though it hurts them a lot in 2025. The thing is, I don't anticipate it having more ramifications past that. I don't think it will. It might. I mean, that's just a matter of time. But I feel like the long-term effects of this trade are going to be more felt with Dallas than they are with Pittsburgh. And now we can jump into Dallas, who lost this trade more. And on paper, how did they lose this trade? Because they got a super talented receiver added to their offense, which, like Pittsburgh, did not have a lot of weapons in the cupboard. So how did Dallas lose this trade more? Well, for the same reason why Pittsburgh traded George Pickens because he's on the last year of his contract, the same thing applies to the Dallas Cowboys. They already have CeeDee Lamb as a top 5 highest paid receiver in the NFL. They're not going to pay George Pickens. They still have to pay Micah Parsons. That is still a thing. And in my opinion, I think Micah Parsons gets a deal done before George Pickens would. And so you're not going to have the money to pay George Pickens. He's not going to probably want a cheaper contract. So you traded away a third-round pick for a one-year rental. That is foolish. That's very foolish. You could have used that third-round pick to draft a wide receiver, and you probably would have been fine. And the thing is, along with that, George Pickens has character issues. He has been known to lose his temper. Teammates have had to restrain him. He has gotten into it with fans in games, especially against Cleveland last season. And that's not the type of guy you want in your locker room when you're Brian Schottenheimer, the new head coach of the Cowboys, and you're coming off of a 7-10 disappointing season, and you're trying to kind of rewrite the ship, reset the culture. George Pickens is not exactly the right mold of player that you want in that situation. And the thing is, this move just oozes Jerry Jones. It just oozes Jerry Jones to a degree that is not good. Not a good thing at all. And the thing is, Jerry Jones, he's never shied away from what you would call a diva personality. I mean, think about Deion Sanders. You think about Terrell Owens, for example, to immediately come to mind that were dominant for the Dallas Cowboys. They were able to have great players with big personalities and kind of keep them in check, if you will. That's not really a right way to put it. That's got negative connotation behind it. But you get what I'm saying. Anyways, this move oozes Jerry Jones, and for Jerry Jones, it's not a good thing. This is not a good move for the Dallas Cowboys because you're getting a one-year rental. You traded away a day 2 pick for a one-year rental receiver who's you're not going to pay anyways. So why would you even do that? It doesn't make any sense to me. And with the character issues and the culture that Brian Schottenheimer is probably going to try and reset and kind of rewrite, that doesn't help. A type of receiver like that does not help you. But the bottom line is, last year, with everybody going down with injury, Dak Prescott went down, CeeDee Lamb was banged up, and then outside of that, there wasn't much more to talk about with the Dallas offense. Rico Dowdle was great, but he's gone. Outside of that, the Dallas Cowboys offense was boring. It was boring to watch last year, most of the year. And so George Pickens, Jerry Jones got what he wanted. He is one of the least boring personalities and players in the NFL. He's great on the field most of the time, and he's going to give you theatrics on the sideline. So if you want someone to bring attention to the Dallas Cowboys, well, there you go, and that is why Jerry Jones made that move. Congratulations. We just figured out that Jerry Jones makes moves because he cares about reputation and entertainment, not about winning football games. But that's not new. Anyways, George Pickens does make this team better, objectively. He's a really good receiver. He's going to work really well with CeeDee Lamb in theory, and those two running around with Dak throwing him the ball should be a fun trio to watch. Although Brian Schottenheimer as an offensive mind does not excite me, that remains to be seen. Overall, Dallas got better in this trade. They definitely are a better football team in 2025, and it should be a fun offense to watch on paper. But their outcome is opposite of Pittsburgh, where Pittsburgh, they're gonna be feeling it in 2025. I don't know if they're gonna be feeling it 2026 and onward, where George Pickens in Dallas, they're going to be not actually really good, but they're going to be better in 2025. But after that, there's nothing. The ramifications of George Pickens being in Dallas is going to be very short-lived, for better or for worse. He is going to be there for 1 year and then be a free agent, and then he's probably going to get a big contract somewhere else. They're not going to pay him. I don't anticipate Jerry Jones paying him. This is probably going to be a 1-year rental, which is why I'm saying it so much. And for Dallas, again, this trade makes no sense. You don't make this trade with all the ramifications that George Pickens brings, money-wise, player-wise, character-wise. It doesn't make any sense other than Jerry Jones, we were boring last year. How do we not be boring? Well, George Pickens will not make your team boring. That is very much true for the right and wrong reasons. But time will tell to see what ultimately happens. with these two teams, but which team will be better? Will Pittsburgh be better without George Pickens, or will Dallas be better with George Pickens? I'm going Pittsburgh. I think Pittsburgh has the roster, they have the culture, they have the coaching in place where you lose a guy like George Pickens, they're going to rebound of that better than Dallas is going to try to have to retool after they let go of George Pickens. George Pickens in Dallas doesn't make sense. At least with Pittsburgh, getting rid of George Pickens had some type of sense to it, and not to mention there were speculations that he could be traded for the past month and a half to 2 months now. So it's not new information. It's not like a bombshell that just dropped out of nowhere. These were whispers that were real, that were talked about for a decent amount of time before this actually happened. So at least for Pittsburgh, there's a timeline, there's a point here where it makes sense to trade Pickens. For Dallas, it makes 0 sense to trade for George Pickens. So I'm thinking Pittsburgh's going to be better off without George Pickens than Dallas is going to be better with George Pickens. But time will tell. Ultimately, we will have to see when the 2025 season rolls around to get the full ramifications of the trade. But for now, that is going to do it for me today, guys. Hope you guys have enjoyed. Make sure to hit the like button and subscribe if you're new around here on the channel and you made it this far. Please do. It is a big help to me, helps the channel out tremendously. We're trying to hit 100 subscribers before the 2025 season starts. Along with that, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Let me know what you think. Who won this trade? Who lost this trade? Who do you think is going to be better? Do you think that the Pittsburgh Steelers are making the right decision? What do you think about the Dallas Cowboys? Let me know all of your thoughts in the comments. Lastly, make sure to follow me on social media, whether it's Instagram, Facebook, Twitter X, TikTok. Right, go check out YouTube Shorts as well, and make sure you're sharing my videos on social media or by word of mouth, getting everybody locked in and locked on to the Shoe Make Take, coming out with great content for you guys every single week. And as always, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you all next time.